Marc Marquez is on the cusp of one of the most dominant MotoGP title runs in modern history, but the six-time premier-class world champion insists he would rather not secure his seventh crown too early, particularly not at Misano, where it could come at the expense of his younger brother Alex's results in Barcelona. The 32-year-old Spaniard arrived at his home race in Catalunya with a staggering 175-point lead in the 2025 standings, having been unbeaten across the last 7 weekends. His consistency and sheer dominance on the factory Ducati have put him in a position where, mathematically, he could clinch the title before the flyaway rounds even begin.
Welcome to GP Time. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates.
If Marquez is able to extend his championship lead by 47 points across the next 2 races, Barcelona and Misano, he would seal the title at the San Marino Grand Prix, held at Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli, a track steeped in history as the home of Valentino Rossi. But for Marquez, that possibility is bittersweet. His brother Alex Marquez, riding for Gresini Ducati, is still recovering from injuries sustained in the Dutch Grand Prix earlier this summer. The younger Marquez has scored just 17 points in the last 2 rounds, leaving him in a vulnerable position ahead of his home race in Barcelona. Speaking to the media ahead of the Catalan GP, Marc admitted he would hate to see the championship decided at Misano, as that scenario would only be possible if Alex's misfortunes continued at Montmello. "I wish to have the title ball as soon as possible, but I wish to have it in Japan or Indonesia because if I have it in Misano, it means my brother had a disaster weekend here in Catalunya," Marquez explained. "If I keep focused, it's a matter of time. But for this case, I prefer a good weekend for my brother than the match ball in Misano." The Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya has never been one of Marquez's strongest tracks. Despite its proximity to his hometown, the 4.6-kilometer layout has often been a stumbling block in his career. He has only scored 2 premier-class wins here, and in recent years has frequently described it as one of his worst circuits on the calendar. This weekend, however, he enters in imperious form. The last time Marquez failed to win a race was at Silverstone in May, and since then he has racked up 10 Grand Prix victories and 13 sprint wins. Such dominance has left many fans and rivals questioning whether anyone can stop him. Still, Marquez remains cautious. "As every year here in Montmello, I know that I need to work a little bit more than on other circuits to try to reach the top level. That will be the target during the weekend," he said. "It's true that it's one of my worst circuits on the calendar, but the fact that it is the home GP gives me an extra motivation in the sprint race and main race. That is where we will try to score the maximum points." Francesco Bagnaia, who triumphed at the Catalan Grand Prix and the Special Solidarity Grand Prix doubleheader last year, is seen as Marquez's most immediate challenger this weekend. Meanwhile, Alex Marquez will be hoping to turn his fortunes around at his home race. A strong performance could delay Marc's title celebrations until Asia, aligning with his elder brother's wishes and adding another emotional dimension to the championship storyline. Whether the title comes in Misano, Japan, or Indonesia, the outcome seems inevitable. Marc Marquez is on track to claim his 7th MotoGP crown and his first since 2019. The achievement would not only mark a remarkable comeback after his career-threatening injuries in 2020, but also cement his place among the sport's all-time greats. Yet in true Marquez fashion, the Spaniard is not only thinking about his own glory. His loyalty to his younger brother and his respect for the sporting narrative shows the depth of his character in the face of overwhelming success. For now, the focus shifts to Barcelona, where Marquez will attempt to balance family, pride, and performance on a track that has often been unkind to him. If he can win here, the path to the title will be even clearer. But just maybe, it will be delayed long enough for Alex to shine on home soil. Marc Marquez is on the verge of completing one of the most remarkable comebacks not just in motorcycle racing, but in all of sports. That's not my opinion. It's the belief of Pedro Acosta, KTM's rising star and one of Marquez's fiercest rivals, who says the Spaniard's return to the top of MotoGP belongs in the same breath as Michael Jordan's legendary comeback to the NBA. "I already said a few weeks ago that Marc was obviously going to win the championship," Acosta told reporters ahead of the Catalan Grand Prix. But when he does, it's going to be one of the greatest comebacks in the history of sports. We can compare it with Michael Jordan when he left basketball for baseball, then came back to dominate again. I think Marc will be the first MotoGP rider who can sit at the same table as Spanish legends like Rafael Nadal, Fernando Alonso, and Pau Gasol. For me, this is going to be one of the greatest stories our sport has ever seen. From 2013 to 2019, Marquez was untouchable. 6 MotoGP world titles in 7 years with Repsol Honda, redefining how far the limits of a motorcycle could be pushed. His style was reckless to some, fearless to others, but always electrifying. Then came Jerez 2020. A violent crash led to a shattered arm, multiple surgeries, and a grueling battle with recurring diplopia, double vision. The timing couldn't have been worse as Honda's bike slipped into uncompetitive chaos. Suddenly, the man who had ruled MotoGP was stuck in the longest drought of his career, 5 seasons without a title. Many wondered if he'd ever return to his old self or if his career had quietly ended that afternoon in Andalusia. At the end of 2023, Marquez made what looked like an impossible decision, walking away from Honda, the team that built his legend. He joined Gresini Ducati in 2024, trading comfort for risk, prestige for possibility. The gamble paid off. Freed from the burden of a broken project, Marquez rediscovered his edge, and his results were strong enough to earn him a call-up to Ducati's factory squad for 2025. With the latest Desmosedici beneath him, the old Marc was back, and then some. What makes this story resonate isn't just the statistics. It's the symbolism. Marquez wasn't supposed to get back here. He wasn't supposed to still be winning, let alone dominating. And yet, here he is on the brink of history, drawing comparisons to Michael Jordan's return to the Chicago Bulls and, the broader pantheon of sports legends. The math says Marquez could clinch the championship as soon as Misano, which is Rossi's home track with 6 rounds still to go. But true to his character, he's not obsessed with speed running as coronation. If the title comes at Misano, it would likely mean his younger brother Alex had a nightmare weekend at their home race in Barcelona. Marc, ever the older brother, says he'd rather wait until Asia, Japan, or Indonesia, so both Marquez brothers can celebrate strong results. No matter where or when the math locks it in, the story is already written. Marc Marquez's comeback is one of the great sporting revivals of our time. From broken bones and double vision to Ducati domination, from whispers of retirement to rewriting the history books, Marquez has shown the resilience and competitive fire that defines true champions. And when that 7th crown finally comes, Marc Marquez won't just be a MotoGP legend. He'll be remembered as the man who delivered one of the greatest comebacks in the history of sport.